What's going on everyone, Grungelop Gaming back here. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the best settings that you can have in Apex Legends Season 13. What I will be doing is showing off all my settings. That way you guys can copy them down onto your accounts and then try them out for yourselves. And then I will be going over the major bullet points, the settings that are going to give you the most edge over your opponents and make your lives a lot more easier. With that being said, let's get right into today's video. And just to get this out of the way, if you already have some custom settings, you can always go through and take pictures of them. So just in case you don't like these new settings, you can always go back and put those old settings in. Or if you've never changed your settings, you can just go back in and then apply the default settings. Now starting off with the quality of life features, the first one being cursor speed. This will make looting death boxes very easy, as you can easily go through them quickly. The default cursor speed is really slow, so I definitely recommend turning it up a little bit, and then the more you play you can turn up even more as you get used to the speed. Another huge quality of life thing that you can do, and some players might also consider this somewhat of a game changer in their gunfights. I would say doing this isn't necessary and is definitely a good thing to look into, and this is your reticle color, so basically changing the color of your sights. Personally, I don't like the dark red reticle, and sometimes it can be hard to see where you're aiming. That isn't always the case, but I went in and I changed mine to a light green because personally I thought it was easier to see the reticle in the first place. Now this does affect all optics, but I think if you're using something like the 1x optic, which is the little red dot in the center, this is definitely useful because you definitely want to see where that little red dot is. So now if you make it brighter, you can easily see that dot. Now another thing that not that many people know about or even really talk about are the optic settings themselves. What these settings basically do is it controls how fast you can move when aiming down your sights with those optics. So a good rule of thumb with these settings is if you have a smaller optic like the 1x where it is just a dot and it doesn't have the biggest range, you're definitely going to want something lower like 1.0. But then going all the way up to something like a 10 optic where you're going to have a sniper scope and it's going to be slower moving, it's going to have a lot of range to it, and it's also going to be a lot slower if you're trying to track your enemies on foot. So that's definitely why you want it a little faster. That way you can keep up with your enemies if they're running, especially at a long distance. I should also mention, if you are someone who likes to quick scope people or something like that, this setting will also help you out a lot. Now moving on to the actual settings themselves, the settings that are going to let you just fry your opponents and that are definitely going to give you an edge in your matches and in your fights. You will see things with the name yaw speed or just speed in general. What these settings are basically doing is it's giving you speed where you need it, and it's also where you can take out delays when doing stuff in the game. For instance, the stick ramp up time speed. Settings like these you're going to want to turn all the way down. What this is basically doing is it's how long it's going to take from the joystick being pushed for your character to actually react in game. And as soon as something can be done, like sprinting or shooting, you're definitely going to want to be able to do that before your opponent, and you could definitely get the advantage by taking out things that in some ways kind of handicaps you. And if you don't turn all of the ramp up times down, then your opponents might have the advantage of getting the first shots in a fight. But with all the basic settings being covered, thank you guys all so much for watching. Definitely make sure to try out some of these settings. If you guys want to see more content like this, definitely make sure to subscribe. It comes at no cost to you and you can always unsubscribe later. Thank you guys all so much for watching. A big thank you to my subscribers and channel members. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all around later. Bye guys.